What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be very rushed and haphazardly thrown together because I am out of time. I have a lot of things going on right now and very little time to do them all in. Actually, I'm not going to be able to make another video until 5 days from now because I've got a family thing that's in the mountains. There's no Wi-Fi there. I don't know why I agreed to it. And then after that I have to hop on a plane and go to San Francisco to cover a press event with NVIDIA. I don't know if I can mention that. It's probably fine. And then I have to prepare for the Ryzen launch. But before all of that happens, I just needed to squeeze one video out for you guys to watch this week. So here it is. Today I'm going to be benchmarking and testing out the first video card I ever purchased. This is the GTX 670 DirectCU2 from Asus. And yes, I know some of you guys have video cards that are probably older than I am. I admit I did get into the PC game quite late, but that's because I just never really had anyone around in my growing up years to show me the light and show me the way. Until Paul came around and he was like, "Come to me, son." And I was like, "Yes, master." Okay, this is getting way out of hand. So getting back on task here, the 600 series from NVIDIA is based on the Kepler architecture, and this is when GPU Boost 1.0 was actually introduced for the first time. Very exciting when it first debuted. So today I'm going to be seeing if this thing still has any horsepower left in it for today's modern AAA games, such as Doom, GTA 5. Even though GTA 5 is a little bit older, it's still fairly relevant in terms of how taxing it is on the hardware. So we're going to be putting it to the test today. I'm going to be throwing it on my test bed, which actually is rocking a 6900K right now, overclocked to 4.3 gigahertz. And that's just so we don't run into any CPU bottlenecking. It's not the fastest instructions per clock chip. I know the 7700K will outperform it in many cases for gaming. However, it's probably not going to be a bottleneck when it comes to testing with this guy. So that's going to be on a gaming Strix X99 motherboard with 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance LPX at 3000 megahertz, and we're rocking a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo on top of the CPU with power supply, SSD for our boot drive and stuff like that. So Windows 10 64-bit, latest Windows drivers, NVIDIA drivers, 378.66 is the latest, is the current driver at the time of filming. So we're gonna be testing this bad boy with all of that hardware right now. Do you even think it still works? I don't know. I honestly haven't tried booting with it before filming this video, so this could all be for nothing. We might try to power it on and not get any video signal. Let's find out. Really quick, check this out. This thing had a backplate before it was cool. Hell yeah. All right, we're going in. Oh, that went in easy. That is nice and broken in, as Jay likes to say. For power plugs, we've got two 6-pins. That's any indication of how power efficient things have become in the last few generations. Moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Oh wait, no, we need a video cable. I remember how to build computers. Oh crap, do we have a display port? Yeah, we do. Sweet, we're in business. We got one display port, one HDMI, and two dual-link DVIs. Nice. Nice. Do we have a signal? Give me something. This isn't looking good. This isn't looking good. Oh, it turned white. The button turned white. Woo! We're in business. We're in business now. I knew it would work. I wasn't scared at all. All right, let's go ahead and jump in right here. We probably need a keyboard too. All right, I've kind of repositioned the camera for better viewing pleasure. Jump into our OS. And I've already got games loaded up on the SSD that we're booting from here. So I'm just gonna use my regular suite of, oh no! All right, that's a little better. I didn't have time to figure out what was going wrong. It's probably a driver thing, so I just swapped out a different boot drive, one that was more recently clean installed, and that seems to have done the trick, at least for now. Let's check out these specs really quick, eh? So we got the 28 nanometer architecture, again, that's Kepler. And let's compare this, just briefly to the GTX 1070 for a minute, which is 16 nanometers, so that's shrunk down quite a bit. Of course, this is the GK104 GPU. 32 ROPs and 112 TMUs. I think we've practically doubled that on the ROP front, and definitely quite a few more TMUs as well. Let's see, CUDA cores, 1344. There's something like 1900 and something on the GTX 1070. 2 gigs of GDDR5. Remember when most video cards in 2011 had 2 gigs on them? We got the same bus width at 256-bit. And bandwidth of 192.3 gigabytes a second. Core clock is 915 megahertz, boosting up to 980, the memory clock of 1502. I forgot to mention TDP on the GTX 670 is 170 watts, and compare that to the GTX 1070 at 150 watts. That's insane. When you consider how much faster the 1070 is, it's just an indication of of how much more power efficient you get when you shrink down that architecture among a number of other things. But let's go ahead and jump into Overwatch. I do have fraps loaded up as well, so we got a frame counter in the top. Whoa, let me change this to the top right corner overlay. So let's do options. Let's see, 1080. Yes, we'll start there. Display based. Let's go high. All right, it's putting us at high right now. All right, so it looks like we're getting around 70 FPS. Actually, it's not moving at all. VSync is definitely off. I've disabled it both in the game and in the NVIDIA control panel, but seems to be at 70. Very, very consistent. Even if I like look into a corner of the room or something, or at the floor, it doesn't change. But the gameplay is very smooth, that's for sure. Oh, Jesus. Oh, people are so good at this game now. All right, screw it. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I'll kill you. Nope, you killed me. That's okay. All right, at any rate, 70 FPS, looks pretty good. Let's move on to the next game. Yeah, I know, I'm leaving my team because I'm a scumbag. So we hit 1094 megahertz, thanks to our GPU Boost 1.0, and we also hit 71 degrees C as our max temperature, which isn't too bad. Of course, this is a fairly low-powered GPU as far as modern-day graphics cards go these days, but that's still pretty nice. It's Doom time, baby! So this is a little bit more intensive than Overwatch. Yes, yes, yes. Ultra. All right, screw it. Let's just do Ultra. Let's see what we can do. Yep, we're getting into the 30s. We're getting a little close to Chopville. Actually, it's dipping down to the 20s right now. That's no bueno. So Doom on Ultra, GTX 670. Probably not the best fit. Let's go ahead and crank that. Let's do high, see how that works. All right. Oh, that's better. Now we're in the 40s. Doesn't look like we're dipping in the 20s too much. Let's go ahead and start some shit. See what happens here. When our little friends come out to play. Where are you at? Oh, bad place to spawn. Terrible choice. All right, so gameplay's not the smoothest, but it is playable. Definitely much more so than when we were running Ultra. All right, let's see what happens if we do medium and just exactly how that looks. All right, even smoother now. This is probably what I would play at. Medium settings. So it does Doom on medium, which still looks pretty good. Honestly, I will say. It's not quite as crispy, of course, but it doesn't really take you too much out of the experience, especially when you get a bit more visual fluidity at play. And I'm sure during more intensive parts of this game, it'll dip into the 30s. Maybe you'll even hit in the 20s once in a while. But for the most part, I would say Doom is very playable on the GTX 670 if you're willing to sacrifice just a bit of graphic fidelity. I say we fire up the Metro Last Light benchmark. And this is by no means a new game, but it is still very GPU bound. 1920, we'll do, I'm gonna say medium. We'll do medium, 4x, motion, blah, 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 blah. Tessellation, we'll do normal, just a little tiny bit of tessellation, and then, yeah, we'll just go ahead and run selected. All right, we're starting out with around 80 FPS. Not too bad. Of course, this is probably the least graphically taxing part of the benchmark. Nope, this part is, because now we're at 140. Can I see at 150? No, we're going back down again. But once the explosion happens and people just start killing each other, that's when it really brings the GPU to its knees. Here we go, let's see the frame rate. Is it gonna dip? Of course it is. So now we're in the 70s, which still well above 60. Okay, now we're in the 60s. Not too bad though. Oh, it's loud, it's very loud. Oh, we're in the 40s here. That's the lowest I've seen it so far. All right, let's see what our average FPS was. 81.9 frames per second. Not too shabby. You know, you could probably even get away with high if you really wanted to, but again, to play it safe, I'd probably stick on medium, especially since we were seeing dips into the 40s. Cranking it to high might result in some pretty bad choppiness, so.
No, we played the GTA 5. We played a good one. From the Cockstar.
All right, we're doing 1080, no MSAA, screw that, screw FXAA. Let's see, they're putting us at normal to high settings, a couple things we can get away with very high, but for the most part, I trust those settings. Let's go ahead. Wait, VSync, I think VSync is on. Yes, it is, VSync off. All right, what do we got? Oh, as soon as we go out, boom. Wait, what? Yes, see, this is what I love about GTA 5, is that it is incredibly demanding on the hardware, but it's also a super scalable title. So we're getting around 70, 80 FPS right now. The game definitely looks not as crispy as I'm used to, but you know what? I much more value the playability than the eye candy at this point. Killing people is still just as fun. So if I were to just guess off the top of my head, based on the numbers I'm seeing so far, I would probably put this card on par with the GTX 1050 Ti or something like that, where you can get away with, you know, maybe some high settings on these AAA titles. Definitely not ultra in most cases, which is generally the case for the 1050 Ti, but still very playable if you did want to play with the big leagues and enjoy some of these more ambitious games. Then you certainly can. You just have to be okay with cranking down the settings. Oh look, it's a ramp. Hit it. Oh, that's a garbage truck. Damn it.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you, American tourists. I go back to my homeland. Talk major shit about you. Fuck you.
Okay, let's move on to our last game. Watch Dogs 2. Oh geez, I'm in 4K. That's why I'm getting 6 FPS. By the way, I'm sure you guys already noticed, but all the games I've run so far have been at 1920 by 1080, which was actually the resolution that this card was pretty much intended for on the day it launched, and it seems to still be holding up its end of the bargain on that front. So we're gonna crank this down. I think Ultra is a little too much for the GTX 670 here. So we're gonna do medium. All right, so now we're cruising at around 50 FPS starting out. This is the very beginning of the game, so no spoiler alerts or anything like that. I think this is probably the newest game that we have on today's list, and it definitely shows. This is taxing the card harder than any other game that we've tried so far. And I'm getting effed up right now, but that's okay. Definitely saw some dips into the 30s there. And again, this is at medium settings, so I would not dare go past medium at this rate. So yeah, definitely playable. Doesn't look fantastic, but you know, if you're okay with console level quality, then I guess you would be perfectly fine gaming with a GTX 1060 in this game as well. And I guess that kind of sums up this video here, guys. I told you it was going to be short and crappy and poorly thrown together. So at the very least, you know that when I promise you something, I always deliver. All right, so to sum up really quick, I mean, from the hour or so that I spent with this thing, again, didn't do a deep dive into testing it because I'm strapped for time, but honestly, I'm pretty impressed with how well it's held up over the last 6 or so years. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to putting it in something like an HTPC or even an entry-level gaming rig. Again, I'm kind of equating it to the GTX 1050 or the 1050 Ti in a way, but of course, much more power hungry. However, if you can afford the additional wattage and you don't mind it just being an older card, it's still perfectly good in a variety of AAA games if you're willing, again, to crank down some of those quality settings. And to be honest, after shooting this little video, I'm kind of curious now to perhaps do a follow-up where I pit the GTX 670 against other modern cards within its class. I think that might be kind of interesting, but of course, I have run out of time. So I know this video sucked, guys. I do apologize. If you enjoyed it just a little bit, go ahead and toss me a like on it and show your support and love in the comments as always, but I gotta skedaddle. So thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. I'll be back very soon with a more thorough and high quality video as opposed to this one. And yeah, you can bet on that. So feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss it. Have a good one, guys. I'll see y'all in the next one.